So, hi guys, welcome to the panel and welcome to everyone else. Good afternoon. Uh, I think we have some very interesting entrepreneurs with us for this panel, and I would like to start. I think Mahima and team were very kind enough to give a very detailed introduction. So, I don't think it's worth repeating, but would love to start maybe with a question which I think every entrepreneur, every budding entrepreneur has in his mind when they are about to start up, right? How do you solve a problem, right? So what is a problem statement? What is a solution? If maybe Aniket, you can start with, yeah, it will be great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, we all hear stories about all these successful, great innovators and entrepreneurs. And one thing that is common with all of these guys is they're obsessed with the problem. As long as you're not obsessed with the problem, it does not make you the right person or the right fit to try to solve that problem, because then you're just anyone else. But you have to be the chosen one to solve that problem. And if you are dedicated to that, you can maybe achieve what others can't. That problem could be anything. Ideas are cheap, ideas are many, but to stick to that, to just go after it day and night, and in an entrepreneurial journey, nothing is ever static, right? Think there are days that are going to be amazing, there are days that you're going to feel um, like you've hit rock bottom, nothing's working out, but that is where persistence comes in. And I mean, just in a brief summary, going after a problem that you're obsessed with, doing proper market research, identifying strategies that is going to work for you, executing them the right way before giving up, or identifying it as a success or a failure, is something that you're going to have to work on, and just going to be at it.
So Pratik, if you can maybe elaborate on your the problem that you saw when you started your brand Actofit, and where are you now in terms of the solution? Do you feel you're being able to solve that problem for the consumer?
Absolutely. In my case, I started seeing a lot of health issues with people around me, and I just knew, right, that if you are working out, if you are eating right, sleeping well, you are much healthier. You are falling sick a lot lesser. But trying to identify what doesn't work, right? So there are all these fitness gadgets like Jawbone and Fitbit back in the day, and they are measured or considered as fitness devices, but they're not really measuring fitness, because 10,000 steps is not a accurate way of measuring fitness according to me, and that's where the problem or the thought process started with. So we built our hardware solutions. We built some solutions that would track your exercises. We built software solutions that would track a lot more, right from posture when you're working out, and then give you detailed insights reports, be almost like a personal trainer. So 6 years back, we filed a patent around it, which is now granted, around a camera tracking your posture while you're working out, and then correcting you as a personal trainer would, all in real time, costing you basically nothing, because it's software, it's completely free. And we launched this product on a platform called Indiegogo, and that platform got us $500,000 of sales without even, say, launching a product in the market. Within 3 months, we had 4 crores in the bank, with 80% gross margins on these products, and we had to ship these units or products out 6 months later. So that was the start on how I achieved, say, my first customers, and how I achieved a market validation initially. But I'm sure everyone has a different perspective
Sure.
on the journey.
Sure, thanks. That's very insightful. Dr. Manjiri, would you like to go next with a quick background on how you started, given your diverse set of medals that you have? Would love to explain, how did you solve that problem and how did you start at Scream?
Sure. Hi guys. So problem, I think when you think you are having an idea to business start करना है, there will be risk, there will be problems, वो तो आनी ही है. And in my case, when we thought कि Scream Energy Drink जो यहाँ पे है launch करना है, we thought कि ये हेल्दी होना चाहिए, नेचुरल होना चाहिए, इसमें हर्ब्स होना चाहिए जो स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन के लिए बना है, फॉर डेडिकेटेड ओनली फॉर स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन. तो उसमें सब इंग्रेडिएंट्स होने चाहिए जो हेल्दी है, नेचुरल है, एनर्जी देनी चाहिए, सब होना चाहिए। तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम ये थी कि जो हर्ब्स हमने डाले भी, हमारा बैकग्राउंड आई एम ए डॉक्टर, मैं हस्बैंड इज ऑल्सो डॉक्टर, तो हमने जो हर्ब्स डाले, हर्ब्स आर बेसिकली बिटर इन टेस्ट, तो वो बिटर टेस्ट कैसे छुपाना है, उसको कैसे मोल्ड अप करना है, तो उसके लिए हमें बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ी। तो फार्मूलाज हमने 46 फार्मूलाज डेवलप किए, उसके बाद तब जाके आफ्टर 4 ईयर ऑफ रिसर्च हमने ये एनर्जी ड्रिंक लॉन्च किया है। जो बिटर टेस्ट था हर्ब्स का वो हमने छुपाया, देंगे 0 कैलोरीज, 0 शुगर, जो आफ्टर टेस्ट नहीं आना चाहिए, वो प्रॉब्लम हमने सॉल्व किया। तो प्रॉब्लम तो बहुत सारी थी, और दूसरी प्रॉब्लम थी कि हमने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेटअप खुद का सेट करना था। तो कैसे सेट करना है, क्योंकि जो मशीनरी लानी थी वो इम्पोर्टेड मशीनरी बहुत कॉस्टली थी, बजट उतना नहीं था। वो हमने कस्टमाइज़ किया, इंडिया में ही कस्टमाइज़ किया, और वो मशीनरी हमने हमारा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेटअप इंडिया में सेटअप किया है, जो नासिक में है। तो ऐसे कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आई थी, तो हमने वो ऐसे सॉल्व की।
Great, thank you. Arshia, would love to, I think you started your business when you were 19, so I'm sure the audience would love to know how you started, and I think it was in the midst of the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you a small brief. My journey actually started with a very own personal problem, because ever since I was 13, I struggled with sensitive skin, acne-prone skin, and I just had a lot going on with my skin in general. And because of that, I sort of used makeup to cover up a lot of my imperfections, I would say. And that made my skin even worse. So I sort of saw the problem here, where if I do want to also cover up and sort of use makeup, I don't want it to, ruin my skin in return. So which is why this journey is very, very personal to me, because it started off with me actually finding that this is my personal problem, and I want, I'm sure there are 100 other people in the world that face the same issue, and which is why I literally formulated my first ever lip gloss in my bedroom on my study table, because I was like, there has to be a solution to this. I have taken out videos on YouTube, I've researched about it, ordered the ingredients, and in about 2 months I sort of formulated this one lip gloss, and I started, making my friends, family try it out. And it was, everyone loved it. They said, we've not tried a product like this, and this formulation was sort of my own. It was not something that you probably find in the market, or something that you will just find anywhere, or some manufacturer is making it. It was very personal to me. And that's why I feel that's the main problem that I'm trying to solve with Tint. So now that we do have a diverse range of products, we make sure that all our ingredients are very, very clean and very safe to use on people who have sensitive skin, acne-prone skin, rosacea, any skin condition. You can trust the products. And I think that's how the entire journey started. I was 19, and I had just gotten into college. I was in my first year, and the pandemic was on, so all of us were obviously studying online. And I started formulating it in my bedroom, and yeah, that's how it started. And here we are 3 years later.
Amazing, amazing story from all three of you all. And maybe we can move on to the next question. I think the audience would love to understand, especially in your case, Pratik. As a young entrepreneur, there are limited options from a capital perspective, right? And that's the question which every entrepreneur has, that how do I start a business, how do I raise the initial capital? And I think you have done something fabulous, which obviously may not be relevant to all business models, but if an entrepreneur today wants to go via your route, right, the crowdfunding route, how can they go about it?
Sure. So every solution, every problem is tailor-made to one's specific needs and the solutions at that point of time in their particular industry. Having said that, today there's also, funding's dried up a little as compared to say 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where everyone's getting funded. So, and which is good also, because just getting the first round doesn't mean anything. is just setting you up for failure if your business model and things aren't right. Having said that, you want to make sure that your business model is on point. You want to make sure you have your first set of customers. You want to make sure you have some traction. So as Arshia here has, say, launched a beauty brand from her bedroom, right? There are things that you can make happen within just, doing things today with especially AI, Gen AI is so easy in terms of figuring things out, building models, building plans, getting your first trial products out in the market, be that a software, be that a service, or be that a device, getting it out in the market, getting some feedback, getting some testimonials, and saying that, hey, this works. As soon as you do that, figure out how much capital you need, who you need to reach out to, and if you even need that capital. If you don't, and if you can bootstrap your way, then great. If not, then there are a lot of college events these days that happens where you can raise as little as 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, and that in itself could be a huge sum to get started off the ground, to go from step 1 to step 2, step 3. Obviously, then there are crowdfunding methods that I used in my case, where I used a platform called Indiegogo, which is similar to Kickstarter. It's there in the US primarily, but you can buy. I mean, I had orders from 155 countries, with 65% of orders being from the US. So geographic boundaries are also diminished these days because of how digital a product or a solution can be. So having said that, I mean, the problem, solutions, and everything can be very, very diverse basis what your use case is. Yeah.
Thank you, Pratik. I hope that answers some questions, and we can always take more maybe after the session is over. One more, I think, interesting thing about all of us, in fact, is that we are in relatively crowded segments, right? So differentiation becomes very important, right? Because, I mean, there is only so much you can do to be in a crowded segment with a similar product unless you can break through the clutter, right? So, Arshia, maybe if you can start, how do you differentiate in the market? How do you, given that you're targeting a niche and maybe there are not too many players in that niche, how did you build that niche and how do you differentiate?
So one of the first differentiators is that in India, there are not a lot of beauty brands that are there are two types of beauty brands mainly. There are very, very reasonable or very, very premium. The in-between category was sort of missing, and which is where we wanted to sort of give premium quality products at very, very affordable rates. So if you're wearing a Tint Cosmetics lip gloss, you're going to feel like, oh my god, this is worth thousands of rupees, but in reality, you're not spending a lot on that. So that's one of the differentiators that we sort of worked on. And now that we're working on is something really cool, which is skin tech. One of the main issues that people face while selecting their shade of lipstick, lip gloss, foundation online is you don't know which one to buy. Because you need to try it on in person to see if it actually suits your skin tone or if it's suiting you in general. Which is why we're developing a tool, a virtual try-on tool, where you can actually come to our website and try on a lip gloss, a lipstick, a foundation, a blush, and then make a purchase. Since a lot of beauty brands are predominantly online today and all of us prefer purchasing all our products online, this is somewhere where we want to be a differentiator because not a lot of brands in India are doing this, and we want to make the customer experience very, very easy and friendly so that it's very seamless and you don't select the wrong shade or the product at the end of the day. So yeah, those are the two.
No, thank you, Arshia. Dr. Manjiri, if you can maybe elaborate on how you differentiate with Scream as a product. Obviously, the product itself speaks for itself, right? Yeah, screams for itself. Good one. But you are obviously in a market where there is Gatorade, there's Red Bull, and a couple of other drinks. So, how do you differentiate?
So first of all, those energy drink available in market, they are with full of chemicals, high caffeine, and in Scream energy drink there is very low caffeine, which is natural caffeine, and there are herbs which will give you sustained energy for 8 hours. For sports person, there are multiple ingredients like collagen, L-arginine, L-carnitine, then BCAA, and I think this is a huge difference in other energy drink and Miss Cream energy drink. दूसरा differentiate point I would like to share. There are 4 flavors in Cream energy drink. 2 common, mango and cola, and 2 uncommon, pina colada and cotton candy, which is our top selling flavors, cotton candy and pina colada. And I don't think so कि other energy drink available in so many flavors and these different uncommon flavors.
Oh, definitely, and I think we tried a couple of cans before coming on stage, and I can swear by the cotton candy. It's really good. You'll have to try.
Thank you.
And yeah, coming to you again, fitness, you know, like we were discussing earlier as well, is a competitive category, right? So, and you have developed some very interesting solutions, right? Well, can you elaborate a little bit on them and how do you differentiate from the competition?
Sure. So we first started out with devices and wearables with a companion application, and obviously that's a commoditized business today. But what we expanded into is healthcare management. So instead of just focusing on fitness, we moved into the healthcare space. When I say healthcare, I basically started focusing more on reversing diabetes, PCOS, or other chronic illnesses like hypertension and whatnot through digital programs. Through this journey, what I also learned is 85% of these problems happen because of metabolic imbalances, which are there because you don't follow a proper lifestyle. Your lifestyle is dependent upon managing stress, sleep, exercising enough, as well as eating the right portions, the right macros with low glycemic index. And this entire journey involves, say, diagnosis, monitoring, as well as forming healthy habits. So while we started focusing on a 360-degree lifestyle management of the user through digital apps at affordable prices, we also started publishing or creating studies or clinical trials, which were then published by international leading medical journals, which gave us a lot of credibility and validation in the market before we started launching it with the customers. And while we did that, this allowed that credibility to translate into business contracts from leading pharmaceuticals like Cipla, like Dr. Reddy. Then we started working with insurance companies because having solutions which can reduce the hospital costs by more than 30 to 60% for an individual is a game changer for an insurance company, because they have to pay out the claims for every customer that goes through the hospital. For the pharmaceutical industry, we realized that the pharmaceutical industry by 2030 is going to be mostly dependent upon digital therapeutics by up to 25%. And this is a space where medicines cannot really help you reverse, it can just manage the symptoms. So we found different use cases for, say, the products that we had, instead of going through, say, the normal routine, model that you would kind of expect. But by creating value for ecosystem partners and working with them, we were able to drive a significant penetration in the market. And this is how we differentiated ourselves from, say, some of our competitors, which included Ultrahuman, Healthify, and these are more popular D2C brands today in the market, but they both have negligible studies or clinical trials, and that is the reason that they cannot really work with the kind of industries that we work with.
Very interesting insight from all three of you all. Moving on to the next question, right? Again, when I started this business, I remember the biggest struggle was choosing which channel to focus on. We started as an online first brand when there was not much consumer demand online, right, in 2015. And then we pivoted into offline, and then we realized, hey, online is starting to pick up, right? And as a young brand, there's only so many channels a founder can focus on. So would love to maybe open it up to y'all and to understand that which channel has worked for y'all, right? Like you mentioned, I think you've created a great blend of online and offline by working with offline brands, pharmaceutical brands, and bringing an online experience to it. So would you like to start again?
Sure. Normally, obviously, the golden rule is focus on one particular channel, one particular strategy, saturate it, max it out, and then jump to the next one. And that's very sound advice. And I think that's what most of us should try to do. Instead of growing wider, stay narrow and go deeper. And that's, in most cases, a winning strategy. What we've done is we've been bringing in customers to our platform through one channel or another. So we work with a lot of doctors. Doctors recommend their patients to download the app so that the patients can, say, monitor vitals and whatnot, and bring back a report to a doctor 15 days later. And that report is which allows the doctor to give more insightful, say, medication, more insightful, consultation to that patient. And we charge nothing for that. But every patient that comes onto the platform is kind of a customer that is having access to a suite of products and services. So identifying different, unique, novel strategies and not just going with the tried and tested models is also something you as an entrepreneur founder will have to take a bet on and figure things out and kind of have that strong notion that, okay, this is going to work, not work, by doing proper market research. I think it's very unique again case to case, but happy to, anyway.
Dr. Manjiri, if I'm not mistaken, you have a offline first model, right? Your primary channel is working with distributors, super
Yes.
stockists. You are available in, if I'm not mistaken, 7,500 stores across the country.
Yes.
So, what made you choose offline as a channel? And can you elaborate on, your plans in the future? Do you intend to become online heavy, or you intend to focus on offline for the time being?
Both. We intend to come on online and offline also. But first of all, offline, because I think जब तक product taste नहीं होगा, हाथ में किसी की नहीं जाएगा, they will not know कि exactly what is the product. And हमने शुरुआत भी ऐसे ही की थी. हमने जब launch किया था, we targeted Asia's biggest fitness expo, which is IHF. जब हमने launch किया था, we thought कि सिर्फ sampling करेंगे, okay? नो सेलिंग एंड ऑल, लेकिन लोगों को इतना पसंद आया कि हमने उस टाइम पे, मतलब वो अगर सैंपल लेके जा रहे थे, बाद में बाय करने के लिए आ रहे थे, दैट टाइम वी मेड 50,000 रुपीज़ कैश सेल. सिर्फ सैम्पलिंग करने गए थे लेकिन सेल करके आए. तो वी टारगेटेड ऑफलाइन फर्स्ट, देन वी आर अवेलेबल ऑनलाइन ऑन अमेजोन. हमारा खुद का ई-कॉमर्स है. तो आई थिंक ऐसे, और हमारा जो एज ग्रुप है, जो टारगेटेड एज ग्रुप है, वो टीनेजर्स एंड यंगस्टर्स है. तो वी आर डूइंग इवेंट्स लाइक इन कॉलेजेस, फिटनेस एक्सपोज. तो आई थिंक ऐसे ही जो ऑफलाइन है ऐसे ही जाएंगे. एंड देन ऑनलाइन तो वी आर सर्चिंग फॉर इन्फ्लुएंसर्स. यहाँ पे कोई हो तो प्लीज़ come and meet me. Yeah.
No, great to know that. Arshia, what about you? I think you're D2C first, right?
Yeah.
So how has your experience been in the online channel? Do you intend to go offline? Do you intend to become an omni-channel brand at some point?
So as we've already established that the beauty and personal care sector is extremely crowded, and it's more of a push product than a pull product in today's date. So this brand essentially started online. Everything was done online. The content, everything was happening just online for us. So I totally agree with Pratik when he says that you should stick to one channel and dive deep into that first, so that people recognize your brand once it goes offline. So if suppose today they're seeing Tint Cosmetics on Instagram or on YouTube, and tomorrow if we're available in any omni-channel stores, they'll be like, okay, I've seen this brand, it's trustable, and I've heard great reviews, I can try something out and probably purchase it. So first, the main importance of this is to get visibility and then move into a very, very heavy credibility channel where the credit limit is so high where it's going to bleed your pockets. Which is why I believe that going online for at least us worked better than sort of going offline first. But it's definitely something we're looking at in the future once the brand has more recognition.
Thank you. One more question I had was, as a young entrepreneur who wants to start out in this space, getting into marketplaces is not as easy as it used to be, right? And getting traction from them is even more difficult. So can you elaborate on your journey? I mean, I'm sure you sell on Nykaa, Amazon, and a couple of other platforms.
Yeah, so we are on all marketplaces currently, but again, it's a huge process to just get onto these marketplaces. And since we are a brand that manufactures about 80% of our products in-house, and we don't have third-party manufacturers for most of our products, it was very important for us to get the rules and regulations in place. So all the FDA approvals that we had to get, it took us about 1 year to get the FDA approvals and to sort of get listed to all of these marketplaces, because these are the things they require for you to be listed on it. I believe it's a great way to grow the brand, but yeah, definitely it's super difficult to get them to actually trust you and get listed onto these platforms. Sorry, what was your second question?
If a person wants to get listed on these platforms, what is the kind of process? I think you've already elaborated on that.
Yeah. So basically, you just need to have a credible manufacturing unit. If that's something you're doing in-house or you're sourcing it to a third-party manufacturer, that's the basic criteria. And they also usually take brands that have a slightly more visibility in the market, but it is difficult for sure. But it's one of the great ways to grow on the online channel, as a lot of people go to these marketplaces to purchase a lot of products.
Right. No, thank you, Arshia. And one more question I had for Dr. Manjiri. I think you are listed on Nature's Basket,
Yes.
which is one of the largest gourmet chains in the country. So, just for the entrepreneurs here, what is the typical process? Do they have some kind of listing fees? What are the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis with a chain like that?
Yes, there are listing fees for shops like Nature's Basket. Process is थोड़ा difficult because they don't trust your product easily, and हमारा तो fitness वाला था and no sugar, no calories. In Nature Basket we have experience. They said CEO, जब we met CEO of Nature Basket, they said हमारे ऑफिस के स्टाफ को you just serve. If they agreed 50%, अगर they agreed, they like your product, we will surely place your product in our Nature Basket. लेकिन 50% से ज़्यादा we got response, positive response, 90% response, very good response, and they started placing our products. हमारा monthly sale जो major sale है वो एक Amazon से आता है और दूसरा Nature Basket से आ रहा है.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think to maybe put in the last question so that then we can open it up for the audience. What are your key learnings, in this journey, whether brief or long? As a founder, I'm sure we have gone through all kinds of experiences. Pratik, if you can start, what were your key learnings which you would like to share with the audience?
I've been a founder for maybe 7 years now, and I think in these 7 years I've committed all the cardinal sins. There's this slide deck which is very popular called the Guy Kawasaki slide deck. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've seen it.
And it is a 10-slider deck, and that's all you need, right? But each of those slides is basically a business front that you need to manage. One slide could be a problem, one could be the market size, one could be the penetration model, one could be the team, so on and on. But let me tell you that, each of those things need to be, there's no shortcut, there's no easy way. If you're building a business for a long-term, value drive, you need to make sure you have the best of everything. And for me, I think personally, we invested a lot in the offline gym models back in 2020 as a penetration model, and that backfired because of COVID. I also feel like the teams, or making sure that your team have enough empowerment or say sweat equity or ESOPs, is also something that you should keep in mind, keeping in mind today's attrition rate and how good people are always going to get offers from other people. And then I feel your strategy has to be, for me, I've bounced from one or pivoted from one strategy to another without successfully validating that as a failure. So you need to give it enough time for that to also happen. And then lastly, you need to document things. So any decision you're taking today, you need to make sure you document why you're doing that, and have a complete SWOT analysis. And then 6 months later, 9 months later, refer to it when you make a new decision, because you don't want to, because you are going to be in a vicious cycle. Okay, this is not working, let me go back to this or that. But you need to remember why you.
So I believe that founders need to really Yeah, so I believe that founders really need to stick to their true roots, and the reason why they've actually started this brand or started onto this journey. There's always a reason. You feel passionately about it, or you want to solve a problem, or there's something there's a cause that you want to cater to. I've been a very new founder. It's just been 3 years since I'm running Tint Cosmetics. I still have a lot to learn, a lot to unlearn as well. But I truly believe that founders need to stick to what they actually came here to do. They need to understand that running behind numbers or running behind growth is great, but also not diversifying away from what is true to you, what is true to your brand. We're not running a marketing agency here where we're pumping in money on ads and we're getting results out of it. We want real customers to actually like the product so that they come themselves and buy it again. It's not because they've seen your ad on social media today and then they're buying the product. So I believe that you should not sacrifice your bottom line just to get a great top line. It's super important to stick to your roots, and yeah, you will grow slowly, but that growth will be more commendable than anything else. So yeah, that's something that I've learned over the past 3 years, and I would just like to share that. Yeah.
No, that's very valuable insight, I believe. And Dr. Manjiri, would you like to conclude with your learnings?
I think for founders, every day is learning. Because what you plan, it will sometimes it will happen, sometimes it will fail. लेकिन I think it is not you have failed. It is for like you are learning something. That failure, कुछ तो सीखने को मिलता है उससे. That is my learning. And सबसे बड़ा पेशेंस. एक रात में आपका बिजनेस चलेगा नहीं. और हमारा तो ऐसा है एनर्जी ड्रिंक सीजनल, मतलब स्पोर्ट्स ड्रिंक्स अगर मैं कह रही हूँ, फिर भी पीपल आर लाइक इन नॉर्थ लाइक कश्मीर एंड दिल्ली साइड, विंटर साइड में थोड़ा सा कम चलेगा. तो ये सब कैलकुलेशन पहले ही करने पड़ेंगे आपको. आपका जब आपको प्रोडक्ट कोई भी लॉन्च करना है, सीजनल है, दूसरा कुछ है, टारगेट ऑडियंस कौन है, मेल फीमेल एज ग्रुप, ये सब आपको पहले ही करना है. ये बहुत सारी लर्निंग है. एंड पेशेंस में क्यों बोल रही हूँ, इन बॉडी बिल्डिंग आई लर्न कि मुझे जब मेडल लेना है, मेडल तक पहुंचना है, वो एक बॉडी गोल लेके ही पहुंचना पड़ेगा. ऐसे ही मैं कुछ भी बॉडी फॉर्म लेके फिजिक लेके स्टेज पे नहीं जा सकती. दैट बिजनेस में ही पैसा ही है. आपको प्रोडक्ट के लिए बहुत पैशनेट होना पड़ेगा, कंसिस्टेंसी होनी पड़ेगी, कंसिस्टेंसी लानी पड़ेगी, डे नाइट वर्कआउट करना पड़ेगा. कुछ ऐसे कस्टमर्स होते हैं और रात को भी कॉल करते हैं कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट मैंने संडे को ऑर्डर किया था, अब तक मिला नहीं, कहाँ है, वो नहीं मिला, वो आपका ट्रैकिंग डिटेल्स भेजो. तो यू हैव टू आंसर. कितना भी छोटा कस्टमर हो, सेल्स पर्सन हो, ऑफिस का स्टाफ हो, यू हैव टू आंसर. तो लाइक फॉर फाउंडर्स इट इज़ नॉट लाइक कि प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर दिया और अभी आराम से सब सेल होगा तो मार्च एंड में सब देखेंगे. इट इज़ नॉट लाइक दैट. एवरी डे इज़ लर्निंग. एवरी डे मतलब कुछ ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स भी होते हैं कि आपको इतना सीखने को मिलता भी है, और एक टाइम पे ऐसा भी होता है कि वाओ आई एम डूइंग सो ग्रेट. मैं कहाँ थी, मेरी स्टोरी इतनी छोटे से सिटी से स्टार्ट हुई है कि आई वॉज नॉट अलाउड टू वेयर जीन्स. तो वहाँ से लेके बिकिनी पहन के स्टेज पे जाना है, और अभी खुद के 2 प्रोडक्ट्स लॉन्च किए हैं. तो बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला. लेकिन गर्ल्स लाइक आर्शिया, आई एम सो प्राउड ऑफ हर. उसने इतनी कम एज में इतना सब कुछ किया, तो आई एम थोड़ा सा जेलस ऑफ हर, लेकिन आई एम प्राउड ऑफ हर. सो आई एम हैप्पी. तो अभी सोचती हूँ तब से जब स्टार्ट किया तो क्या होता कि तो अब तक कहाँ तक पहुँच गई थी. लेकिन सबका टाइम आता है और मेरा टाइम अभी आ गया है.
Very well said. Okay, this was a very good session. I think all of you all gave some very valuable inputs for the crowd. I would love to open it up for questions. Anyone from the audience has any questions they would like to ask the panel? sorry, it's a bit difficult for us to see from here. So if y'all can stand, that'll be great. And if someone can give them the mic, I think there's a hand there.
Hi everybody. My question is to Dr. Manjiri. So,
Hi.
With the social media evolution, where every business is promoting themselves, no matter how small or big they are, on social media. So, what do you think? Is it a challenge for the startups, or it's making things easier for you to penetrate in the market and reach the consumers or reach your target audience better?
There are pros and cons for social media. I think, लेकिन I think organically grow करना is better. Social media later. हमने जो grow किया है वो social media से नहीं किया. I think one-on-one मिलके customers से, clients से, college के students से, fitness enthusiasts से, athletes से मिलके हमने grow किया है. तो I think social media does not matter that much. जब हम हमारे प्रोडक्ट के बारे में बात करते तब जाके वो सोशल मीडिया पे सर्च करते, उससे पहले सर्च नहीं करते. आई थिंक इतना इम्पोर्टेंस मैं नहीं दूंगी. पहले मैं दूसरों का देख के सोच रही थी कि ये सोशल मीडिया इज़ इम्पोर्टेंट, रोज़ का पोस्ट करना इज़ इम्पोर्टेंट, रोज़ का स्टोरीज डालना इज़ इम्पोर्टेंट. लेकिन इट इज़ नॉट लाइक दैट. पीपल आर वेरी स्मार्ट. उनको पता है उनको क्या चाहिए. तो you have to think like that only.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Firstly, thank you so much for a lovely discussion. My question is for Arshia. How do you actually manage to strike a balance between, a sound passion and a really nice business mindset as well? Like, I'll reframe it again if you want to, but sometimes passion does not go with a proper business flow. So how do you actually manage the balance between them? Like, sometimes passion is not exact business structure wise.
I believe that I, I try to see that passion is not always related to business.
Not exactly. Like sometimes यार एक passion में कैसा होता है, दिमाग में ख्याल आ जाता है कि मुझे ये करने की चाह है, and
Right.
plus business एक structured way में करना होता है.
I will give you a very realistic story as to how Tint actually started, and it's one of the most different ways of sort of that a brand has been started. I did not have any capital. I have sort of I had 20,000 rupees. That was my pocket money, which I ordered my raw materials from. I ordered the lip gloss tubes from. I have asked a friend to make my logo for me. I have literally not had any business plan in mind when I went ahead with Tint. I used to take pictures of my products in my bedroom, in my garden, and I just started posting them on social media. So I don't really believe that essentially a brand is supposed to be built on a structured business plan. That's not something that I believe in, because that was not my journey. My journey was very, very different. It was very organic. It was very raw. And I learned so many things on the way while Tint was growing, and not really before that. So I myself did not follow any business structure. It's never this or that. There's a very big gray area when it comes to all of this, and I believe you just should do what your heart feels like, and just if it's your passion, you're definitely going to find a way to make it into a business. There are no rules, literally no rules whatsoever.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Hi, hello everyone. Really insightful session. My question is for you, Pratik, actually. See, us laymen, we see this on Shark Tank a lot, that those sharks will be sitting and they'll be asking them that, you know what, you discontinue this part of your business and I'll offer you something. So for a founder, if he's getting an access of funding, is it okay if he's pivoting away from his passion or the thing that he's pursuing right now just to acquire some funding in?
See, the way you're putting your question, it sounds like you're asking an entrepreneur to choose between a passion versus investment. But I could also reframe that question and say that you could choose between sound advice that an investor is giving you, because remember that all these sharks who are sitting there have built billion-dollar unicorns, and they come with a lot more experience. So it's just not about getting fund access. If I'm putting my money in a particular business, I do it so that there are profits and so that I have a return and an exit. And that is the same objective. It is aligned with yours as a founder, as an entrepreneur. So you should take that feedback with a lot of positive thought process, that this is a suggestion from someone who's putting his money where his mouth is. He's just not giving me free ka gyan. He's also giving me money to back it up. So I feel this entire negativity around, when we usually say raising capital and investors keeping their terms in terms of product direction and all, we should be a little bit more open to it. But at the same time, I mean, again, depends on case to case basis. But I feel giving up a passion for uh, for investment is not how I would frame it. At the end of the day, it is a for-profit business. Dhanda dhande ke liye hai. It is not to say, it's not a pet project or a college project. You are paying taxes. You are having like 20 to 100 people in your team. You're paying salaries. You have to look out for all their best interests, and you also have stakeholders. So making profit is where the investors' usual thought process will come in from, the curbs, and you have to be mindful of that, is what I feel.
So that concludes our panel discussion.